Hello everybody, this is R from DJR Union, and today I'm coming at you on New Year's Day with another video. In this video, we're going to be discussing a little bit more of the Code Geass Green Lancelot Deck. Now, if you saw our earlier video, you know that I went over the Green Lancelot Deck profile and the cards that I was playing in the deck. However, with the Bandai Card Fest fastly approaching us on this weekend, the 4th and the 5th that is, people are trying to make their final adjustments as well as fine-tune their decks to take into the tournament. And as for your boy here, as we continue to work on the Green Lancelot deck and make some improvements as well as change some cards around, I feel as though it's only fair to share those changes with y'all on the channel so that way you can have a nice idea as to what to run and bring to the tournament coming this weekend. So why don't you guys sit back, relax, and see the changes that I made with the video or with the deck. Alright guys, so here I have all the cards laid out before me. If you notice on the top end of the row, these are the cards that I was originally running in the Lancelot deck. And the cards at the bottom are the cards that I pretty much exchanged them out with. So we're going to go one by one at each set of cards as to why I swapped them out and what cards I swapped them out with. And starting off, we're going to go over the V2s right here. Now, of course, you saw with almost every deck profile you see, of course, you're going to be running the cards that takes the that plays a card, bounce a card back to your hand, and allows you to be able to generate that extra bit of energy. But after discussing it with a couple of my friends, for at least for specifically this deck, you don't really need it. You don't really need to have the V2s in the deck because you find that you play a lot of 0 and 1 drops that are able to generate a lot of energy to bridge that gap into going into your 3, your 4, and your 6 and 8 energy cost cards. So I thought that gap was very hard to gauge, which is why I was playing the V2s. But after making these changes and testing out the deck a little bit more, I find that these V2s aren't really necessary. So I ended up taking them out. In addition to that, you'll also notice that the Lloyds are also taken out of the deck as well. And as you saw in my earlier video, you know that I mentioned how I really like this card and I love the ability to be able to dig into your deck. However, what I ended up doing was instead of playing a 3 Lloyd and a 3 unit maintenance split, I ended up adding another unit maintenance to the deck to play a total of 4 unit maintenance. And the main reason being is that this unit maintenance card to me, after testing it, is just able to generate just as much if not a bit more value because of all the targets that you play in the deck, like say your 6 and 8 cost Lancelots. You're able to hit those cards majority of the time with your unit maintenance, which allows you to restand that action, and you're basically playing this card for free since it replaces itself. So because of that, I decided to take these Lloyds out of the deck and just went all in on 4 unit maintenance, and in doing so I found that it still kept the consistency of the deck. Now going a deep further, the main reason why I played all these cards, especially a lot of the higher energy cards that we're going to eventually go over, is because I wanted to be able to play out the 6 and 8 cost raid Lancelots as quickly as possible. But as we continue on, you're going to notice that these new cards that I added into were able to still maintain that consistency while still also being able to draw those cards as effectively as possible. And one of those key changes you'll see is here in the Special Corpse Head trailer. Now, in the original build, I was originally running 2 because I thought 2 was good. But the reason that I'm upping the build up from 2 to 4 is because, one, like I mentioned in the earlier video, Special Corpse Head Trailer is a very clutch card, especially when you need to quickly generate that 6 and 8 energy to go into your higher plays. So playing 4 of the Special Corpse Head Trailer just allows us to draw this card way more effectively. And if we end up drawing multiple of the same cards, we just use the other Special Corpse Trailer as fodder to be able to generate that extra bit of energy. So it actually works out in our favor to be able, one, to see this card as effective as possible, and also be able to utilize any spare trailers as fodder, just be able to generate that extra energy. Now, going into the next card, you'll notice that I'm now running 4 of the 1 cost Euphemias in the deck. Now, I ain't gonna lie, when this card first came out, I was roasting this card heavily. I thought like, all right, it's good. You have to target her before you can target your other cards, but at only 1k BP, I just feel as though you can kill this card very easily. Now, while that still is the case, like a lot of board-wide cards, like saying all cards on the field loses 1k BP, it's still able to get rid of this Euphemia. However, when you're playing against decks like say Purple Bleach, Purple Bleach, Green Bleach, Blue Sakuna, Boogie Woogie, and things of that nature, they all play cards like say Getsuga, Diversion Fist, Boogie Woogie, and so on and so forth that target specific cards on the field. And those are the main kill spells that you see in a lot of decks. So what I realized after playing this card is that they have to target it. They have to target this card before they can target your Lancelots. And it's not, I want to say, a very good card, but it's not a very bad card. This card to me is more like, say, it's the mosquito that's flying around your face. It's always there. It's not really hurting you, but it's super annoying. And you try your best to get rid of it, but it just keeps coming back and it's just being a complete nuisance. That's what this card does. It becomes a nuisance to your opponent, to making them like, or to force them in a situation where like, man, I can't take care of this Lancelot that's messing me up because I gotta waste my resources on this Euphemia first. And after seeing the power that Euphemia has with this deck, I decided to go all in and play 4 of them. Not to mention it's also a body and a 1-drop, so it also helps in being able to bridge that gap from your 0 cost all the way up to your 3 and your 4 cost. Now, another card that you notice that I got rid of, as you see up here, are the Jeremiahs. Originally I stated how I wanted to play this Jeremiah to be able to generate that extra bit of energy, as well as this Jeremiah to have that aggressive early game play. But I eventually noticed that I was trying to go too wide with my deck on the type of things I'm able to do, where I then concise the deck down to a specific focus. And the focus here is just, you want to play stuff on your backline and you want to build that energy as quickly and effectively as possible to start playing your higher energy cost cards. And trying to sit here and trying to play the early game, like say with Jeremiah's, and with the step and the double block and everything, you're just starting to take away a bit from the actual purpose of the deck. Is to just build up into your mid and late game and just overwhelm your opponent that way. So that's the main reason I decided to take out the Jeremiahs as a whole. And in such, I started replacing, like say, the 0 cost Jeremiahs with the Britannian soldiers, and also upping the amount of 0 cost I played from 11 to 12. And doing so, I'm able to draw my 0 cost way more effectively, so that way I have enough 0 cost drawn to be able to lead into my 3 cost and my 4 cost plays overall. Another thing that you'll notice is also that I'm playing 2 more of the Suzakus in the deck. Originally I was playing, my math was right, originally I was playing, I believe it was 10 Suzakus. Now I bumped it up to 12 because as I noticed playing the games with the deck profile I was using before, I found that some occasions I just wasn't seeing my Suzakus as much as I needed to see them. And it made me realize, like, hey, this is a Lancelot deck. I need to be able to see my Suzakus as much as possible to be able to go into my later plays. And even if, like, say my opponent is getting rid of my cards, I need to be able to draw into more Suzakus and keep utilizing them to their advantage. Hence why I decided to say to myself, you know what, I'm just going to go all in on my Suzakus and play the full 12 of them rather than cutting myself short just to play other cards just to be cute. And you see that here with the Euphemias, the 4 cost 2 action points Euphemias and the 3 cost 2 action point Charles. Now, I'm still not gonna lie, I did like playing the Euphemia and the Charles. I thought the card still worked wonders for me, but as I stated in multiple videos in the past, the 2 action points really does get you, and it really does hurt, because for 2 action points, the card has to do a heck of a lot to justify spending that extra action point. And as we continue to contest and continue to play more and more games with the deck, I found that just having the Euphemia to utilize those 2 action points to generate that extra energy, it really does set you back, especially when you're playing against decks that really do drive in the later game. It sets you back that extra action point or that extra turn to make them be able to pull ahead and to be able to deal with or get an advantage to deal with your Lancelot plays. So in doing so, I felt like, hey, instead of just running the Euphemias, I just want more special headquarters trailers, so that way I'll always have the means to generate the 3 energy if I need to, and I'll have fodder in my hand to get rid of to get to that point. And I found that even though I made that change, it did not hurt my deck in the slightest. Matter of fact, it just, I would even say that improved it, like overall just improved the consistency. And last but certainly not least, we have Charles Z. Britannia. I really did like this card, and it was good to test it as a 1-up, but it's pretty much the same thing with this Euphemia. is that for 2 actions, it had to be really good to justify it. And I did like the fact that I was able to dig 3 cards deep and bring any card I want into my hand. But the fact of the matter is, unless you have the live card in your hand to follow up with Charles, this card is okay at best. When you have live in your hand, you play Charles, it makes the card that much better because you're able to play live, restand your AP for free, and able to continue on with your turn as normal. But unless you draw that card, if you don't draw it, you only run so many event cards in your deck, say for example the unit maintenance. And if you don't draw those cards, or you don't see yourself in a situation where you need to use that card, you're just spending 2 AP just to get any card you need from your deck, when there are plenty of cards in the game of Union Arena that's able to grab cards and add it to your hand for 1 AP. So overall, these are pretty much the changes that I end up making to the deck. Like I said, like I mentioned, or like I'm probably going to mention, I'll also have a link to be able for you guys to see the full deck profile with all the changes being made, and to see just how well the deck works overall. And in my personal opinion, these changes were pretty good changes. It really did help with the overall gameplay of the deck, which is just get to the mid and late game and play your big powerful characters and just swing in, and they won't be able to deal with it, especially with this Euphemia on the field, because they have to target this before they can get to your other things. So they're just left in a pick and choose situation, and it just throws them off their game. And must I also add, after making these changes, the amount of triggers that you play in this deck increased drastically. Because if you notice, with all the changes that I made to the deck, they all have triggers. This one is a draw a card trigger, get trigger, buff trigger, draw a card trigger, as compared to these cards that I took out, where it's like half these cards, or more than half these cards that I originally had in the deck, didn't have any triggers. So the only cards that we now play in the deck that don't have a trigger are the 0 cost Euphemias, which is 4 cards out of 50. So that means 46 of your cards have triggers. So that way now, when you're revealing cards in your life, you're more likelihood, like way more likely, to hit a trigger to be able to give you that little bit of edge in your gameplay, especially you start going to the later games where it really starts boiling down to luck at that point. So overall, I love these changes that I made, and I'm glad I was able to keep an open mind to these changes, because especially when looking at the point I had to cut out the Lords, I was definitely thinking in the back of my head, I really don't want to. I like this card, but like I said, I suck it up. I look past my pride, and I say, you know what? I'm gonna try this out. I'm gonna see what it can do. I'm gonna see what it's capable of, and I'm glad I did, because these improvements were very good improvements. So yeah, these are the changes that I made to the deck, and I hope you guys are able to utilize and see these changes and able to implement them into your deck builds to be able to prepare for the Bondi Card Fest that's coming this weekend. And that's going to be it. Now, I put a link down to the deck profile in the description below, so that way you're able to check it out and see all the changes that I made to the deck for y'all to see. So I want you guys to continue to enjoy your New Year's, and I'll see y'all at the Bondi Card Fest this weekend. Once again, this is R from DJR Union, and you guys have a fantastic day.